Mount St. Helena stomach.
And here is the latest addition to the marathon display. 2003 Napa Marathon. I will be going over and doing a little recap. And now for the breakdown of the 2023 Napa Marathon. March 5th on Sunday was just, the Napa Marathon was 3 days ago. And it turns out the Yasso 800's that I talked about in the previous video didn't quite hold up to the predictions I was thinking of that they were going to get me. I was gunning for at least a PR on my marathon, getting sub 3:05:23, and it just wasn't my day. So there was a lot to factor in for this marathon and the Yasso 800's. So it's kind of, you're just gonna have to equate this in to see. I don't know how accurate it really holds up, because I took a really quite the different approach on this marathon to my last one. I tried coming in more fresh. Like I said, my knee was bothering me, and I was really kind of nervous about this one, really anxious, and it just was, I don't know if that's such a good idea. I tried going with the approach that I wanted to try going in a little more hungry and 100%, like fresh legs, and I felt like I tapered off pretty much. I did the Yasso 800's a month before this last marathon, and I don't really know how fair it is to I don't really know how much credence I give to the Yasso 800's workout I did to the time for this marathon, because in Sacramento I just was running a lot more, and you kind of almost want to have a little bit more of that tension and spring in your legs from kind of like running a lot more. They don't want to be too loose, and so I may have done the Yasso 800's a little too far out, and I would start to taper off and ride my bike a lot more. And right now the bikes are occupied by Pine Nuts. Her Pine Nuts dolls. They're action figures, Pa. Papa. Thought I'd give them a little bit of the spotlight today. And did my last long run 3 weeks out before the marathon, and I only ran, I think I only ran probably like one run before the week of the marathon, which is the day before, a shakeout run. I did like a little over 2 miles. I think it was like 2.8, and then in the marathon shoes, I was using the Alpha Flies, Next Percent Fly Knit, and for the Yassos, I was using the Vapor Flies and the Ecodin Editions, and both orange, different types of orange. I just don't think I put a big enough training block for this previous marathon, and I ran a 3:21:13, so far off from qualifying for Boston. And in that 3:21:13 marathon I ran was, which I'll post I'll post the Strava race stats in the end of this video, so you can have a look at it. Overall, I ran 26.5 miles. I think the overall time was 3:23:59, and so it was an average pace of 7:42. But there was a lot of factors to be had in this marathon. It was really cold. You could actually, I'll post this video too. You could see the snow on Mount St. Helena. So there's snow in the background. It was super cold, really wet, and I got a really bad blister within the first, or probably around it probably started around the 14-mile mark, which is where I really started to taper off, fall off. I was like qualifying time up to that point, and then just really fell off. I started off strong. Anyway, it was really cold and really wet. I actually had to stop at one point to retie my shoe when I was getting that blister, and my hands, like I was down trying to tie my shoe for like a minute because my hands just would not operate. They would not function. Like I was like trying to tie my shoe, like it just wasn't, I felt like, I don't know, old in the wintertime, like my bones hurt in the wintertime. That's how cold it was. And so it was really wet. So my feet got really wet, and I got a fat blister, and I probably ran with that blister over 10 miles, I'm gonna say. Like it was probably like I probably started getting it at 14, and I was running like awkwardly trying to keep pressure off that blister. It was really big on my left foot, and it split, and it hurt so bad. And ironically enough, I didn't get injured in the marathon, but I've had this lingering groin strain for a really long time. Like, it kind of comes off and on when I run, and but it just hit me like hell after the halfway point. I seriously thought I was going to pull my groin again. Like I pulled it once in football in high school. I had way too many problems in this marathon, but I was not tough on myself. So I wasn't beating myself up over it. I wasn't being hard on myself like I was in my last marathon. Even though I didn't come anywhere close to my goals. I mean, I guess I wouldn't say anywhere close because I did get some good PRs. Like I wanted to get at least a PR on my half marathon. I did. I got by like 14 seconds, and 14 or 16 seconds. I got a couple other PRs, like my 20K. Got a PR on my 10 mile. So, all in all, it was a good day, some good training. I learned a lot through that marathon, and learned a lot about like my approach, what I need to fix, and you just learn a lot about life. Sometimes it's just not going to be your day. Weather is such a pivotal part in running or any kind of exercise outdoors, and I think that was in the top 3 biggest factors. If it wasn't for the wet that day, and being rained on a little bit, it was supposed to rain, but luckily it only rained probably like not even a half hour during that marathon, probably like 20 minutes. So it was awful when it was raining, but and I think that played a big part in me getting that blister and the rubbing on my left foot during that marathon. So who knows? So some of the biggest takeaways are, am I opposed to doing another Yasso 800's? No, I think it's going to be another good drill to do before my next marathon or another one down the road if I can get on track to do it. And let's kind of take it from there, but as of right now, I don't know how much credence I can give to it. That's a big thing about a marathon too, is sometimes you take a different approach, and you have to go back to the drawing board and just have the confidence within yourself to correct things, come up with a new game plan, and put your best foot forward from there. I would say that I think the biggest factor to running a successful marathon is consistency of putting in high volume weeks. I know last year I rode my bike, a fairly decent amount, probably like 2,800 miles or something, and I did a lot of my running towards the end of the year before CIM, getting up to like 40 through 70 miles a week, and while riding my bike, and I think that was the biggest thing that got me to 3:05:23. So far, my best marathon out of the three official like event marathons. I've ran 4, one in my training. That was my first one. So I just like wanted the confidence to do it before San Francisco. And I put a lot of high quality miles into that training. Last year, I ran over 1,200 miles. I think it was like 12:36, and I averaged over 1,000 feet a week of elevation gain. So for me, for my first serious year of running, that was a big deal. And after San Francisco, I ramped up the mileage, and San Francisco was July, and then December was CIM, and I think the biggest thing so far, the takeaway that I've had with these 3 events is just running. You want to be a better cyclist or runner. I think the secret that I'm seeing so far is just ride or run a shit ton more miles, and you're just gonna get better. Just put in that volume and that effort, and that consistency is so significant to hitting your goals. Yeah, overall, I had a good day mentally enough to not beat myself up. When things don't go your way, you got to take it as it comes, and not throw a mental breakdown. Just a ninja is one who endures. So those are some of the biggest takeaways from this one. Is try a new approach. It gives me confidence to know that I did that. I don't have to have that in the back of my mind lingering, that maybe if I go into this one 100%, maybe if I go into this one well rested, really overly well rested, stress also can be a big factor, and I know I've been stressed as of late. Rest in power, by Nut. Forever with Peony Weenie. I love you. I always love you. I will never abandon you. If you go into the marathon, it's raining, you don't run well in really frigid cold temperatures. You're going through a lot with stress. There's numberless ways you can not hit your goals. Something can go wrong, and sometimes it's your day, and sometimes it's not your day. But when it's your day, just you'll know, and you're going to take advantage of it, and you're going to it's going to be so overwhelmingly joyful when you are putting in that effort and you hit your goals, and they come true. So, and it's all you putting in all the blood, sweat, and tears to hit your goals. So, and as far as the race is concerned, keep with the consistency, and keep pushing yourself for setting and creating a high volume training plan. So even though Napa is a net downhill course of, I think it's 250 feet or something like that. There's 500 elevation gain, and I think it ends up being net downhill over 200 feet. So it's supposed to be a faster course as far as Northern California is concerned. And I've seen some online that are like net 1,000 downhill plus. Like, so those are some really fast courses. I think Sacramento is a net downhill like 334, 368. But I'll do a recap of San Francisco and Sacramento, another video looking back at that. But yeah, really wet marathon this year. And it runs along the Silverado Trail and ends up at Justin Siena High School. And thanks to all the people volunteered for it, and thanks for all the people that showed up and cheered everyone on, brought out the creative signs. And luckily I scored a full box of Ocho bars at the end. They had like a whole pallet of them, and like they just weren't taking as many the people, so they just gave me a whole one. So that was really nice of them. Once they put the medal on and got some like the free banana, and once I got the banana and the Chex Mix bag, so shout out to Mark Charlson and Justin Jennings, who also ran the half marathon there. I got to chat with them a little bit afterwards. I saw them on the course. Overall, it was a fun time, and you know, my second fastest marathon at least, and I will I'm glad that I got the opportunity to run it, and I will keep you updated to my next one. I'll be running that Avenue of the Giants up in Humboldt next in May, so stay tuned for that. Got a lot of work ahead of me. Gotta let this brutal blister heal, and hopefully have no more problems with my groin. Pulling a groin is just awful. Like I'm really thankful I didn't get injured this last marathon. So ironically, like I was kind of worried about my knee and my heel, and then it was something else that went wrong. And that's seriously just how like running goes a lot of the time. And it's, at least for me, and it's been a little like it's been comedic. So in the sense of irony there. So it seems like sometimes one problem rolls on, and another one, then it goes away, and then another one comes on. So I don't, like I said, I don't know how much I can put stock into whether the Yasso 800's worked or didn't work. I do think running higher volume is more important, is what I'm gathering so far. But I think it's a great track workout to do nonetheless for your speed days. To at least try it once. So maybe next time, who knows? If it works out well enough, I might do my Yasso 800's at least 3 weeks out or 2 weeks out before my marathon. But I might try to do my long run 2 weeks out before my next marathon. Just like really get used to a lot higher volume. The weather is going to be looking, I think, a little better. It's still raining a lot right now, but it looks like the weather isn't going to be as cold coming up within the next couple of days. So I'll have that going for me going forward, as spring is almost here in 12 days. Spring will be up in March 20th, so looking for some better weather to be running in. I'll be getting off earlier now from work, so that'll be nice. Instead of getting off super late and then going on runs when it's really, like when it's super dark and cold. So I will actually have daylight after work to be going on my runs. And another factor to take into account when it is cold is it was below 40 when I was running this last marathon, like high 30s degrees Fahrenheit. I think it was 39 degrees was like the average for this marathon. And your body works a lot harder to keep itself warm, so it burns a lot of calories. A lot more calories when you're running in the cold to keep yourself warm. And so like I think for me, my ideal temperature would probably be like 47 average, maybe 46. I don't know, but not under 40. That was, I think it was too much. My hands get so cold and they crack and bleed during the cold season. So I really have to lotion like every day. Another thing is, if you know that you have a cold, wet marathon coming up, don't be hard-headed like me and under-prepare. Do not try to rough it. I really should have at least wore some thin gloves. Went in with my singlet, I went with a rabbit singlet, my rabbit half tights, and no gloves. Just was rocking the Open Run Pro by Shocks, I believe it is called, and just should have at least wore gloves. Probably should have wore a hat, and I didn't put sunscreen on. That's another thing, especially like when the sun is beaming out like that through the early parts of the after dawn, is make sure to wear some sunscreen. I got a little too much sun the other day, and thus that concludes my 2023 Napa Marathon. I guess that would be the takeaway, is sometimes it's nice to try a different approach to the next marathon. Had those what ifs, like what if I was rested up more. Wasn't the case this time with helping me out, so I'm kind of glad I scratched that itch, and I will I think go back to my old approach. I think it's good to keep those fresh legs and not drop your volume too dramatically before a marathon. So I think that was the lesson that I have to take away from this last one, is I only ran 2.7 miles before, or the week of the marathon, the day before, and the week before that only ran like 5.6 miles the whole week, and then the week before that I may have only done a long run, and I was doing those in, I think, shoes that just needed to be retired. I've never felt so horrible on a long run. Like everything, like my body got really thrashed on that one. So I was feeling it prior to that, but I wanted to give the New Balance Purple V2s one last long run, get them over 400 miles, and they felt good, I think, through the first 6 miles, and then maybe 7 miles, and then they just I just went downhill. Like it would almost seem dangerous at one point. Maybe it's in my head. Maybe that's a little bit too much, but that's just how I was feeling at the time. Like I could not, it was challenged to even get to keep it under a 9-minute pace. I think it ended up being like 18.2 miles long run before my marathon 3 weeks out, at like an 8:56 pace. And thus that concludes my recap and analysis of the 2023 Napa Marathon, and trying to gauge whether or not how useful the Yasso 800's were. I think there is work needed to be done with that, more research needed. Need to go back to the drawing board. So I would take that one with a grain of salt with the Yasso 800's, whether that worked or not. Some people think it really works, so I'll be saving that for another video. I'll probably end up doing another experiment with the Yasso 800's before another marathon. Maybe move it closer, or when I'm doing more high volume. So a winter marathon can be pretty tricky. I'm going to have confidence that I will be able to hit my goals in my next one. Forever with Pine Nut. Rest in power, Peeny Weenie. Mugen, love you always. So peace, stay safe on your runs out there, and I will catch up with you on the next one. Rest in power, Pine Nut. Forever with Peeny Weenie. I will always love you. Mugen, love always. Infinite. I will always be with you, Pine Nut. Don't worry, Pine Nut, you will also be featured in other videos. And you know your papa will always be with you, and you will be in future videos. I guess one of the things I forgot to mention is in this marathon, for the Yasso 800's, you can see Pine Nut tore out the eyeballs. She's a vicious thug life papito. You would have to watch the last video to be able to compare the Yasso 800's and all the times and whatnot. So something I kind of forgot to mention was that I mentioned in my last video is in my Yasso prediction before this Napa 2023 marathon is that according to that I should have ran under 305, but probably not broken 3. I probably should have actually ran like a 303 to 4, like a 302.5 to 4 minutes, just like something a little under 5 at least. I ran a 3:21:13, so that was the thing I wanted to make sure I didn't leave out. But like I said, I don't know how much you can, take it for what it's worth. I took a different approach, and I think it kind of backfired on me. That's what I was supposed to get, and that is not what was achieved. But every run and ride, or they tell a story and teach you a lot. I learned a lot that day, what I need to do going forward that day. So it's never really a loss if you can take something away from it and at least have a good time. And I still ran a good marathon, and I will be back at it.